everyone, welcome back. Today I want to have a chat about anxiety and how to still live without it holding you back. So this is what I've learned from my experience. Obviously this will be different for everyone, but here's what I've learned, here's what's helped me, and I hope this will help you too. I like to think of anxiety as a habit of the mind, and it can be really addicting because it's this constant cycle of clench and release. And you're playing on this fear and relief loop that you can get from even the smallest things. Now, if you struggle with anxiety, you probably know what I'm talking about. When you have plans to hang out with friends, for example, and you get really nervous and really worked up about it, it becomes this huge thing in your mind that's causing you so much stress. And then last minute you decide to cancel on your plans and you just get this rush of relief. You feel great knowing that you avoided this scary thing, even though you didn't actually face it or overcome it. And eventually this can keep getting bigger and bigger because even the smaller things, the more you stress about it, the more anxious you get about something, the better it's going to feel when you don't have to face it. And without actually doing anything in your life, without going out and overcoming these challenges, you're playing off this loop that makes you feel like you are. But the good thing is you can actually use this habit loop to your benefit. Because if you actually do the things that challenge you, that scare you, you're still playing on that same cycle of fear and relief. And it's not actually that different if you face the scary thing or if you avoid it, because you're still going to get that rush of relief afterwards. Think of your comfort zone like a rubber band. The thing is, you can gradually stretch and expand that rubber band by slowly doing things that challenge you. And you're stretching it bit for bit so that it eventually gets bigger. More things fit inside your comfort zone. The more you do that, the easier it gets. If you also deal with anxiety, I'm sure you've been given the advice of just do it or face it before. But that's really not the best, because it can be too far outside your comfort zone and it may backfire and end up breaking the band. I know for me, if I do something that's just too much, I'll feel so much worse afterwards. I'll be a lot more anxious about the little things and it'll feel like I've just taken a bunch of steps back. So be careful that you know yourself best and you need to know what you can build up to and what's maybe too much for you right now. For example, this morning, one of my little things that I like to do to keep my band warm is to go for a coffee run. Now, this might seem really small to most people, but for me, getting up, going out alone, and grabbing a coffee first thing in the morning is something that makes me nervous still, but it's something that I know is within my comfort zone. It challenges me a bit, but it also reminds me that I'm capable of doing these things. And I want to say, there is no shame in what makes you anxious or not. Everyone is different and everyone's starting out from a different point, okay? So if your band is smaller than that of others, that's okay. You can grow it, you can get it to be bigger, but you have to notice what's within your reach right now. What can you do that you actually feel comfortable facing, and then go from there. It can be as small as answering some old texts that you've been avoiding, or going outside to get a coffee. The point is, it's something that you know you can do, but it challenges you that little bit. I find it really helpful to think of dealing with anxiety like a game. So what you're going to do is you're going to write down a list of all the things that make you anxious, all the things that you maybe want to do, but you feel you can't because of your anxiety. Now, you're going to sort them by difficulty. Once you've done that, you're going to give them points. These are your experience points that'll help you as the character level up. It's just like in a game where, you know, if you're a low level, you can't do certain things or face certain challenges yet. So how do you level up? You do the things that are within your reach over and over until you get good at them. You collect those points to become a higher level, and that then unlocks harder things for you. And it's just like this in real life. Of course, this can change from day to day, as some days you may feel more anxious than others, but it's becoming aware of where you stand that day and what's within your reach and whatnot. So you can check your list and try to challenge yourself to do the easiest things on there, the things that you feel comfortable with, and you'll work your way up. You can do the same thing over and over until it gets easier for you and then move on to the next thing. But I'm sure you'll notice that by actually facing that fear and overcoming the challenge, you'll get that same cycle of fear and relief from it. But instead of avoiding the things that make you anxious, you're training your mind to actually face them and feel good afterwards. So dealing with anxiety sucks. I think we can all agree on that. But it can actually be a big benefit for you, because while going out to get a coffee might not be that big to most people, it might not shift their day either way. I know for me, if I can do that, it'll feel like I've got a big win for that day. You can use it to help build your self-esteem, your confidence, your self-trust, your discipline, because you have so much more leverage when doing these little things that make you anxious. Once you start to think of anxiety as a habit and not something that just happens to you, that you're stuck with and will always face, it'll start to get much easier. And even if you struggle with anxiety, you can still create the life you want. It might seem like you have a lot more walls and barriers up to get there, to do those things, but it's all part of the process. So this is something that really helps me. I like to include little challenges like this throughout my week so that it keeps my rubber band, my comfort zone, warm, and it doesn't get too small. If I don't do anything that makes me anxious for a while, I notice that that barrier becomes a lot bigger to all things. So it's knowing what you're able to face and making an effort to do those things regularly. That's how you're going to grow your comfort zone, and you'll be able to live your life how you want to. You'll be able to do the things that scare you and face more of those challenges. So I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments what little things you like to do that help keep your anxiety in check, and hopefully we can take some inspiration from each other and start living the life we truly want. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's helped you. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next week. Bye.